Hey everyone, welcome to Ian and Friends Tour de Suisse edition. I am FloBikes Senior Editor Ian Dille.
And I am Michael Sheehan, Ian's friend. Today we saw the thrilling conclusion of the Tour de Suisse. Individual time trial, couple big moves on GC.
Yeah, well first we should talk about how difficult this race has been. 9 days, through the rains, through the mountains of Switzerland.
Yeah, a lot of stress, a lot of stress, you know. It's really been hard on us.
Yeah, it's Swiss is known for their delicacies, their chocolates and their cheeses. So
Yeah.
we're refueling today with our own.
Very, very hard-earned, hard-earned Swiss treats
like the
from
professionals,
the commentators. Yeah.
All right, so yeah,
Difficult.
let's
who did
eat
what
and talk
today?
through here.
Yeah. Who did what? We saw Richie Porte. Pretty much figured he would have a very good time trial. He did. Won the GC. Sorry if that's a spoiler. It happened. We'll expound on that in a minute. Biggest ride of the day, I've got to say, Jakob Fuglsang. Wow.
Yeah, he went all the way up to second place, jumped over Nairo Quintana. He won the Dauphiné last year, so doing well in these pre-tour test events is right up his alley. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to carry that form through to the Tour. We mentioned yesterday, it was really the team time trial from Astana. I mean, he would have won this race had it not been for that team time trial. They lost 75 seconds to BMC.
Yeah, so he ended up finishing the overall 1 minute and 2 seconds down on Richie Porte. So he really clawed back a whole lot of time throughout this entire 9-week stage race. Impressive. Really nothing more to say than that. He has been top 10 at least once in the Tour de France before. Is this going to translate into a Tour de France success this year? Maybe, maybe not. Time will tell, but he's got to be happy with the ride today. And I think that Astana really, they have to look at their team time trial going into the Tour de France if they want to perform and have a GC contender in the Tour this year. Tour de Suisse was a bit of a lesson for them. They finished the team time trial with only 4 riders. That is not going to cut it against squads like BMC. They're going to have some soul searching to do in that discipline.
Yeah, not to mention Sunweb, the second place in this TT, Søren Kragh Andersen. We saw him win a stage earlier in this Tour de Suisse, only 23 years old. Huge ride for him. I mean, a second place finish, a stage win. Sunweb was also second in the team time trial, not with, some of their best time trialists, Tom Dumoulin, Chad Haga. Impressive ride for him.
Yeah, like Fuglsang, another Danish rider, 23-year-old, just earned himself a clean 3 World Tour podium finishes at Tour de Suisse. This guy is going to be a really, really massive talent to watch. If he is putting out a second place time trial in the Tour de Suisse, he has a big engine, 23 years old, a lot of room to develop. He's going to be a really exciting rider to watch, just see kind of like where he goes in the sport of cycling, because if you have that motor to handle a time trial like that, just look at his teammate Tom Dumoulin. No telling what he's going to do in the next 5 years.
The other Sunweb rider that we noticed put in a really impressive ride, which was completely unexpected, was Michael Matthews. 5th place for Michael Matthews. It kind of makes you wonder, we had no idea that he was this strong of a time trialist. We'd seen him have impressive results in shorter time trials. He won the Tour of Romandy prologue. It was only 4 kilometers long. He was, 4th in the prologue at the Tour de Suisse last year. It was only 6 kilometers long. So 5th place in a 35-kilometer time trial from Michael Matthews.
From a sprinter type. And, I've said this before, I think that we would talk a lot more about Michael Matthews if Peter Sagan didn't exist. Because Peter Sagan's the guy, he can belt out a good time trial if he needs to, always there in the sprints. He can get over climbs that he shouldn't be able to get over. Michael Matthews has a little bit of that in him. He's like a really, really good all-arounder, but really is, known for his sprinting. This time trial was huge. We have not seen anything quite this caliber from Michael Matthews before in the discipline. And yeah, wow. Future GC rider?
Just need to lose a few kilos.
Yeah.
But what's also interesting about this ride is, it's sort of, He's always been somebody that finishes well out of a small group, 20 riders, 30 riders, always the fastest finisher, one of the fastest finishers in the group. I feel like a ride like this, improving that he has the engine to go toe-to-toe with some of the best time trialists in the world, he should be going in more breakaways. I mean, it'd be cool to see him do something like a 50K breakaway like Sagan did at Roubaix this year. I mean, we know Sagan can lay down a good time trial when he wants to or needs to.
Yeah, totally joking about the GC ambitions of Michael Matthews, but he is, big engine. Let's go win some classics, Michael Matthews. Wow. Hats off to you.
Yeah, we should also mention the winner of this race, Stefan Küng. Really impressive ride from him. And so at BMC, they take 2 stage wins and the overall in this race. Mission accomplished for them.
Yeah, let's talk about BMC. Stefan Küng first on the stage, TJ Van Garderen third. BMC came here with a absolute hit squad. They are in crunch time trying to find a sponsor, and I just have to say, what a classy ride that they've put in this entire race. The pressure that all these riders on BMC are under right now is immense. They don't know if they have a job next year, and they have just put together a phenomenal 9 days of racing. Not only did they successfully defend the yellow jersey for Richie Porte, but the riders are still strong enough to go out and get their own results, like Stefan Küng winning the time trial today in really commanding fashion. Honestly, BMC, they are such a strong team. They've been just, consistently right there in the World Tour peloton for so long. It'll be really, really, really sad to see them not get a new title sponsor next year. So hopefully this race accomplishes their mission of, saying hey, we deserve it. Let's keep this program going.
Yeah, it's really cool when you see a team facing something like the loss of a major sponsor, rallying together, coming together, having a unifying force and going into an event and just saying we're going to do the best we can, rather than everybody sort of pulling the ripcord and,
looking for other contracts. GoFundMe. I didn't say that.
Yeah, and so it's cool. I mean, who knows if it'll work out for them or not, but if this, is one of their final races, I mean, obviously they'll race under BMC through the end of the year, but if this is one of their final races before riders go out and start looking for new contracts, a really cool show of force as a team, and a lot of team riding we saw during this race. Everything from Stefan Küng riding the front in the leader's jersey of this race, TJ Van Garderen putting in a lot of work and then also getting his own result with the podium at the finish, and Greg Van Avermaet also being a super domestique, on the Arosa stage, he really saved the day for Richie Porte. So incredible team riding from them, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens at the Tour, and if they can keep this up, they'll definitely be the team to beat in the team time trial on stage 3 of the Tour de France.
Have to agree with that. Yeah, time will tell.
I think the only other thing worth mentioning is Quintana. He did lose, 55 seconds to Porte in this time trial. Not totally unexpected for Porte to put that much time in a time trial. And it wasn't Quintana's worst time trial. He was 38th place, but I don't know. It's he's gonna have to, in the Tour, he's gonna really have to use the mountains. Well, survive the Roubaix stage and then use the mountains to solidify any advantage he gains.
Yeah, he was kind of the big loser on the day. He did lose his second place finish. He's now third overall at Tour de Suisse. Movistar, honestly, I did not quite see the showing from them that I was expecting. I was hoping for a little bit more dynamic racing between Quintana and Mikel Landa. Landa seemed to kind of crumble a little bit in the last few stages.
86th place today in the time trial. I mean, he lost massive amounts of time.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's some strategy going on with Landa where he just wants to be under the radar until the Tour starts. I don't know. Movistar, they're going to, they are very, very widely talked about. They have a massive 3-pronged attack coming for the Tour de France between those two riders and then Valverde. Right now, don't think that they're quite where they need to be at. And it's going to be a big ask for this year's Tour, just between the cobbles and the time trials for Quintana.
Yeah, especially when you see so many major contenders coming in on good form and other contenders riding to the top, like Fulsang. Porte is obviously showing his own good form. We're going to see Dumoulin and Froome back in the mix. Mitchelton Scott, with Adam Yates. I mean, it's definitely going to be a Tour to remember, and Tour de Suisse is helping to set everything up. So we will be back with a show tomorrow that will recap some of the other events we had on FloBikes this week, the OVO Energy Women's Tour in Britain, the Tour of Akitani, which I believe Valverde won.
He did.
Slovenia, Rigoberto Urán had a stage in that race. So there's a lot of things going on under the radar, and we'll take a look at that and what it all means for the Tour de France. And we'll also take a look at the Giro Rosa, which we have coming up on FloBikes in July. So look forward to seeing you then.
Lots of good racing to come. Thanks for joining.